What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another F1 2020 My Team Career Mode. Today we are back and we are doing the Chinese Grand Prix today. Last time out we were in Hanoi, Vietnam for the Vietnamese Grand Prix. Insane race last time. If you missed it, make sure you go check it out. But we did apply some upgrades last time. As you can see, we got 2 downforce upgrades, a chassis upgrade, and a durability upgrade in the pipeline. And those should, I think, at least the performance upgrades should be available before the next Grand Prix, which will be the Chinese Grand Prix weekend. And we have a quality control facility upgrade coming on April 11th, so that should definitely be arriving before the Grand Prix. And before we actually start advancing time, you'll see that we have activity timeline to fill out here. There's a few things that we could do that would be beneficial. The chassis equipment upgrade gives us R&D points, so that's always a good thing. And it boosts the chassis morale. And then the sponsored event gives us team acclaim, which is very important because the more team acclaim we get, the more sponsors we can have. And then the power team building builds morale, and the driver promotional filming builds driver acclaim, which is important too, I'd say, but not as important as the team acclaim early on in this career mode. And last time out, we also got level 5 on the team acclaim, so that means we can now add another sponsor, which will be increasing our income every week at least. I made sure to read through all of these different sponsors, and I was trying to see which one would be the best in terms of cash and goal and weekly income bonus, and I decided to go with paint. $161,000 just for coming in the top 12, and then also $127,000 just on a week-by-week basis. I felt like it was a no-brainer to do that. It's a very easily attainable goal, and you really just want easily obtainable like gold bonuses early on the career mode, so you're not losing any money. So that way you can get more performance as fast as possible. So this is just me putting paint on the top of the chassis here, right by the engine intake. And the car's looking pretty good now, the more sponsors we get on the car. But another thing that's useful in my team is the invitational events here. You get team acclaim and money for passing these challenges. So this one was just drive 7.8 kilometers before the time runs out at Zandvoort, Red Bull 2010. It's a pretty easy goal to do. As you can see, we blew by it, and we're going to get that money and the team acclaim, which is going to be very nice bonus. Yeah, before in 2019 and 2018, there was no reason to actually do it, but now in 2020, they've given me a reason to do it. So it's a nice change of pace. And here we are in the Chinese Grand Prix weekend. You can see that on the R&D chart, we have gotten all those upgrades. None of them failed, fortunately. And that puts us right behind Alfa Romeo and Alpha Tauri on the R&D chart. So hopefully we can keep up with them on the track and maybe even beat them, because that'd be a nice little reward for the people back at the factory who have been working hard to get these upgrades in. But before we can score anything in the race, we have to make sure we get a good result in qualifying here. This is my first lap in Q1. Still earlier in the session, so whatever result I'm in isn't going to be the end-all be-all, because obviously people are still setting laps. But Bottas goes fastest with a 1 minute 30-second lap, and I'm already at 1:33. So that was basically 3 seconds behind, or 2 seconds behind. I think the Delta said 2 seconds behind, but here we go. My second flying lap. My first lap wasn't great, I gotta admit. It had a lot of mistakes, especially in the final sector. As you saw, I locked up, and the final turn wasn't spectacular either. But turn 1 and 2 here was pretty bad too. As you can see, I've gained nearly 4/10 coming out of it, but bad exit's going to try to drop me down. I've basically stayed the same around 2/10 for the whole lap here until this final sector. I locked up again, but I crucially got a really good exit, and as you can see, I gained 2/10 right there. Made sure to have a good, or that was at least a semi-good exit out of the final corner, and that 5/10 improvement is going to bring us up to P15, which is just out of the drop zone. As you'll see when we check the delta between me and the drop zone, I am only clear by about 1/10 of a second. So if I didn't get that good run out of the final corner, I could have easily been eliminated instead of Antonio Giovinazzi. Antoine Hubert did really good too. He was only 4/10 down on me, but it was a really close quality section there, so I don't blame him for getting eliminated. This is my second lap in Q2. The first lap wasn't great on... The first lap wasn't great, it was on used tires, but the second lap wasn't great either. Even though I'm gaining a whole load of time here, I'm going to be nearly 2 seconds up by the end of this lap. But unfortunately for us, despite it, I am not going to make it out of Q2. I'm going to sit in 16th place here, which is basically the bottom of Q2. Well, not basically, it is, but as you can see, I was still 3/10 behind Daniel Kvyat in the AlphaTauri, so maybe we do have a little bit more to go to catch them up, but maybe our race pace will be better.
It's time to find out which driver is up to the task of claiming the Chinese Grand Prix. We're here in Shanghai. Shanghai International Circuit then, a 16-corner high-speed thrill ride. The long and ever-tightening right-hander at turns 1 and 2 tests a driver's patience, and the flat, open to the elements location tests their skill in a crosswind. 2 DRS zones will assist passing, and overtaking is available into turn 1 and of course down the kilometre-long back straight into the hairpin at turn 14. And as always, a man with plenty of racing experience joins me in the commentary box. Today it's Anthony Davidson. Tell me, Ant, you're no stranger to surviving the melee of turn 1. So how do you keep out of trouble when there's so much going on around you?
There are 3 main things to worry about there, Crofty: positioning, awareness and discipline. First, you have to put your car in a bit of space and make sure you have room to react to what the others are doing. Then you have to watch your mirrors and listen to the sounds around you to get a sense of where everyone is. And finally, just don't get too greedy. Just because a gap exists doesn't always mean you should go for it.
It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. An immense lap from Lewis Hamilton yesterday puts him on pole position, and Valtteri Bottas will line up alongside. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Leclerc, Verstappen, Sebastian Vettel and Albon, Ricciardo, Sainz, Perez and Esteban Ocon, Stroll, Norris, Pierre Gasly and Raikkonen, Kvyat, Bird, Antonio Giovinazzi and Kevin Magnussen, Hubert, Grosjean, Russell and Nicholas Latifi. It's almost time for those 5 red lights to go out. Then let's see who can prevail today.
After the points finish last race, let's aim to keep the momentum going.
So here we are on the grid. As you can see, since we got eliminated in Q2, we have a free choice of tire, and the best strategy is probably going to be the one stop here, the medium to hard tires. But there is a little bit of a twist going to be in this race. As you can see on the forecast monitor, right at the end of the race, there's a prediction that there's going to be rain incoming. So maybe our hard tire stint will be cut short and we'll be forced to go onto the inners if the rain comes down hard enough. But maybe it won't. Maybe we'll just be on an intermediate or interchangeable conditions for the end of the race. But we'll have to wait on that. The 5 red lights are coming on, revving up the engine, and away we go. It's a decent start. It's actually a really good start. I get past Giovinazzi and Kvyat right away. We're going to try to go up the inside of Pierre Gasly. And we are kind of still side by side, but he's going to come up my inside on turn 2, take it really wide, hopefully get a really strong exit. We're still going to be side by side. He's got a better run out of the corner than I did. But I'm going to have the inside line going into turn 4. A huge dive bomb. Luckily not the run in the Raikkonen, but I managed to do so anyway. And we're still side by side, but I feel like I got a better run this time. But I run out wide by mistake. And it's still a side by side affair halfway through this first lap. And Pierre Gasly eventually gives up. And that leaves him vulnerable to Kvyat, who tried to overtake him. They're side by side now. Who's going to come out on top? You can kind of see it in the mirrors a little bit. And I think, and a bit of a iffy driving for me, losing the rear end there. Gasly is going to come out on top in that fight, I believe. And I'm looking ahead to get Raikkonen here. No DRS, but slipstream. Turned off overtake mode because I thought I would have him, but Raikkonen's coming back. We're going to go up the inside. Whoever gets the better run here is going to take the position. And unfortunately for me, I just cannot get the power down quick enough to overtake Raikkonen. So we're going to have to sit back in P14 for now. It's only lap 1, so no DRS going into lap 2 here. And we can't catch Raikkonen. Maybe he has a bit of a lesser downforce setup than I have, but maybe with DRS assistance on lap 3 we'll be able to make the overtake work. Speaking of lap 3, we are on lap 3 as we move forward ahead. Raikkonen has a bit of a twitch. I try to get the power down, which leaves me a bit twitchy, and here comes Daniel Kvyat. He's going to try to overtake me. I kind of squeeze him a bit and he runs into me. That's probably my fault, but luckily I don't think either of our cars were damaged. And he was going to try to come back on my inside. He runs into me there. I left him plenty of space on the inside. And now he's going to try to make a move up my inside, which is going to turn into the outside. And I am going to have track position going down this long straight, which is probably not where you want to be, considering that this is a massive straight, one of the longest in F1. And he's going to get a good run with DRS here. As you can see, I've fallen back behind Raikkonen, so I don't have any DRS. He's going to go up the inside, but I just brake as late as I possibly can, take a wide line, and get a solid run out of the corner, and I'm going to manage to hold P14 from Kvyat for at least this lap. He's going to get DRS again down the pit straight here, but I don't think he's going to have enough road to make a move on me yet, and he will not. And I will manage to maintain the position and hopefully get up to catch up to Raikkonen. But a terrible line through turns 2 and 3, and that's going to put Kvyat all over the back of me again. A bit of ERS overtake mode leaves me a bit more comfortable heading into the turn than I was last time, but fortunately I maintained the position. As you can see, we are on lap 6 now. A few people have pitted. All the soft tire runners earlier on in the race. There's a yellow flag up ahead, and
There's a yellow flag ahead.
there is someone's gone off. I wonder what it could be. I think that's a racing point out of the session. Yes, it's Lance Stroll. He's retiring with the mechanical failure. So that's a free position for us. But as I was saying, the soft tire runners have pitted, and that has granted me up to P5, just behind Raikkonen, who's in P4. And as more people pit, we are now up in the P3, just behind Lando Norris and Kimi Raikkonen. So definitely the one-stop strategy is working wonders for now. It's going to be interesting to see how the two-stoppers come back at us, or if they are doing what the soft tire runners are doing, a one-stop where they're going from soft to hards. That'll be interesting too. I try to dive up the inside of Kimi Raikkonen, getting a little bit frustrated with the lack of progress I'm making on him, and that's just going to be a missed opportunity. I was right alongside of him, and I just missed my braking point, but a bad final turn is going to leave me vulnerable to Daniel Kvyat, who managed to scoop P3 away from me, and I'm going to go down the P4. But of course, this is all preliminary since none of us have pitted yet. And if you look on the mini-map, you can see all the top drivers right behind us. The Ferraris and the Mercedes. And they are going to catch up quick to us since they are on fresh tires to our worn-out mediums. And moving on to lap 12 now. This is the lap I am pitting at, and as you can see, Lewis Hamilton on the hard tires right behind us. And it's a good thing I'm pitting this lap, or else I would have had the battle with Lewis to try to maintain position, but that probably would have lost time. If I gave the position to Lewis, if in the theoretical battle that I'm saying that we're having, I probably would lose way with Kimi and Kvyat anyway, so yeah, good thing we're pitting this lap. There's no reason not to pit. We'll get an undercut on those guys, and maybe we can come out ahead of them anyway if we do the pits. Get the fresher hard tires on than their worn out mediums. But we are going to need a good pit stop here so we can hopefully make this undercut work into the pit lane. Team, it's an okay pit stop. That's probably like 3 seconds, or it's 2.4.
Stop. No more scheduled pit stops.
I don't know if that said 2.4 or 3.4, but I didn't think it was that quick. And we come out right behind Nicholas Latifi, so that's very unfortunate. If we timed that a little bit better, we could have got clean air, but now I'm going to have to try to make an overtake on Latifi. Lucky for me, though, I'm going to be able to manage to get DRS here, and because the Williams is so slow in the corners, we're going to basically be on top of him before the straight even begins. You can see we're already gaining massively through the turn, and we're going to basically be alongside him by the time I'm opening DRS, so easy overtake. Just got to nail the braking zone, and we do. So that's us up in the P17, overtaking Latifi. I don't know if Latifi has yet to pit yet. Yes, he has yet to pit, so he's going into the pit lane right now, so he just held it up for a whole lap because he just didn't pit in the lap earlier. So that's unfortunate for us, but moving through the turn 1-2, we come, Raikkonen comes out right ahead of us, so unfortunately we got held up just enough to not be able to make a move on Raikkonen coming out of the pit lane. Antoine in the pit lane right now. He's doing pretty good. He started pretty low down the field. P19 if I do believe. And I think he's going to come out around P16, so that's a 3rd place improvement on what he was doing. Bit of a bad line in turn 2, carried a bit too much speed. And now Valtteri Bottas is going to be all over the top of us. I was just talking about how I didn't want to deal with the faster cars behind me, but here I am right now defending my position from Bottas in a clearly superior Mercedes. Clanging wheels there. Luckily no damage on the car. And that's P9. Unfortunately, Raikkonen got away from us thanks to Bottas intervening with our battle. He's outside DRS range now, nearly 3 seconds up on us. And
5 minutes until rainfall expected. 5 minutes until rain. Dries seem like the fastest tire at the moment.
And at this point, the rain could start falling in 5 minutes. Now the game isn't that great at telling us if 5 minutes is actually 5 minutes or if it's longer than 5 minutes. And we don't know how hard the rain will come down yet, so we might be ending this race on hard tires. Might be ending it on intermediates. Here comes Sebastian Vettel. He's 2 cars behind me. He's trying to overtake Daniel Kvyat here. he's going to go up the inside, and he's going to have such a great run. He's just going to be next to me. I lock up, and now we're going side by side as we run down toward the final corner. I'm going to brake as late as I can. It's kind of squeezed Vettel, and I managed to keep the place, or that wasn't Vettel, my apologies, that was Charles Leclerc. I managed to keep the place from Leclerc, but he's going to come back with DRS now. We have to leave him space on the inside since he was at least a half car. He was sufficiently alongside of me. But Leclerc not able to get the overtake done yet. I'm managing to hold P9. I fought Bottas, but I didn't really fight him too hard. But here I'm fighting Leclerc because if I go down to P10, then if I lose one more position, then there's no points for us. I broke late, kind of cut off Leclerc, and a bit of bad driving, which turned into a really elbows out move. Now Leclerc's alongside me again, thanks to my bad lines. Leaving him space on the outside, and now we're going to run down side by side. You can see there's a huge train forming up right behind us. The Alpha Tauri, I think both Alpha Tauris and a Renault is right behind us. We managed to hold back Leclerc, but I have a feeling he's going to get by us with DRS at this point. So we're just going to hold our line down the outside of the track. Leclerc's going to fly by. We're going to try to come back under braking, take the outside line, but Leclerc just gets a much better acceleration out of the traction zone than we do, so we'll have to concede. And as you can see on the screen right now, the first...
Mindful of the conditions. The track is getting wetter. Recommend you stay out for now, though. We'll be much slower if we move on to inters this early.
As you can hear Jeff say, the first signs of rain are coming, and you can see the water droplets starting to form on the screen. Hopefully we don't get screwed over by the AI. The AI are way better in changeable conditions than they are in stable conditions, whether that be dry or rain.
They've got a serious car issue. It looks like they're retiring.
And Sebastian Vettel out of this race, a Ferrari gone. That means that we are going to get a free position here. We're going to move up to P9. So Sebastian's misfortune is going to be our lucky day, because who knows what could happen. We could easily lose a place to Gasly or Kvyat, and we could be out of the points. So it's just nice to have that extra place buffer. And even if we don't lose the position, we will get 2 points instead of 1, which will be nice. But rain's really coming down now. It's really tricky to drive in these these conditions, especially with the hard tires on. If you're going to be driving in changeable conditions, you would prefer to have these soft tires on, thanks to the better grip levels that it gives you. But I wasn't about to put softs on and do a 2-stop, just in case I didn't need to. As you can see, we're having a nice battle with Gasly here, and he's gonna do a switchback move, cut my outside, using DRS, and he's gonna fly by me. It was an insane. That was an insane move by Pierre there. I'm finding these conditions a bit difficult, as you can tell by that little drift I had. Yeah, P10 now, and as you can see, I managed to keep the Alpha Tauri right behind me, and he's gonna go at it with the Renault right behind us, who is gonna overtake him. And I believe this is the lap where we're pitting for intermediate tires. The track is just getting super wet. I believe it's lap 24. And at this point, if we were just, it's just getting wet extremely quick. And if we were to stay out on our hard tires, we would lose more time than it would take to make the pit stop. So it was a no-brainer to come in and change to the intermediate tires. Hopefully we can get a good pit stop here and stay in front of the Renault of Daniel Ricciardo.
Go now.
And we do manage to do that, but we do come out behind Pierre Gasly. And as you can see on her screen, there's Roman Grosjean, and if you look at the minimap, or not the minimap, but like the position counter, he's still on slick, hard tires. He really should have pitted this past lap, and you can tell how slow he's going. He's probably trying to wait it out since it's so late in the race, but at this point, he's just going to lose so much time. As you can see, I'm easily flying by him. And Ricciardo's also going to be flying by him. Bit of a twitchy moment there as we run down toward the left-right, but not to worry. P10, we have to protect ourselves from Ricciardo extremely hard. There's only, what is it, three more chances for him to overtake me. Lap 26, 27, and 28. This long back straight is probably going to be the only chance where he's going to be able to do it. I'm going to have to use up all the ERS I possibly can. Ricciardo gets in front of me, but I'm going to brake way late. A big lockup from me, and we're just going to have to try to out-traction him here. We are still behind, but maybe we can make a move up the inside. And we do manage to make it stick. I was worried that we were going to go flying off into the runoff area there due to the wet weather. But fortunately we did not. And Ricciardo is all over my gearbox once again. He's only a tenth behind. And he is undoubtedly going to try to make another move, heading down toward the heavy braking zone. But we're going to have to wait to see if he has enough speed to get alongside me here. No DRS in rainy conditions, so that's the only thing that's playing into my hands right now. And the fact that I have an insane amount of ERS available to be used for overtake mode. Daniel Ricciardo not able to get alongside me, so that means he's really only going to have one more chance to do it. As you'll see here, Lewis Hamilton wins the Chinese Grand Prix. We're about half a lap behind him. And Ricciardo is still all over me, but I am starting to pull out a tiny bit of a gap compared to where we were a few laps ago. He's about a half second down instead of a tenth. But the AI have a really good run out of that double left-hander there. And that sets them up really nicely for this run into the back straight. Even though the AI aren't too great at this right-hander, it's themselves. Just the fact of how close they are and the slipstream power really gives them a advantage. But we're going to burn all the ERS we can here. I think Ricciardo might be running out of ERS because he's not even close to challenging us. And that should be it. That was the last chance Ricciardo had to get in front of us. And as long as we don't botch the last corner here, we will come home with some points. Keeping it in fourth gear to avoid any wheel spin, and that's it. We have managed to score points coming up from P16 on the grid. And that's also going to score us driver of the day.
It's victory in Shanghai then, and what a victory it is after an incredible Grand Prix. Anthony Davidson, what helped them deliver this result, do you think?
I think that smart tyre management on track and very smooth driving definitely assisted in their victory today. That combination meant they got the absolute maximum out of their tyres at all times.
After an excellent performance at the Grand Prix, I'm sure there'll be plenty of celebrations tonight amongst the Mercedes team, and they certainly deserve it.
So that was a great Grand Prix from us, going from P16 to P10 on a 2-stop strategy. We managed to secure 1 World Championship point there. As you can see, Antoine Hubert going from P19 to P13, that's also 6 places up on the grid. So he did fantastic as well. Can't really fault them for that performance, because he gained the same amount of positions I did. He has still not yet scored his first point yet in F1, but I'm sure he'll get there as he grows and as the car starts to grow in performance. As we scroll down here, you can see that Vettel and Stroll DNF'd with mechanical issues. Carlos Sainz went from 8th on the grid to 18th, or 20th rather, since we have the 2 extra drivers. And you can see because he took a 5-stop strategy from soft, medium, hard. Yeah, and there was no incidents for him, so he didn't, unless he like crashed himself into the wall, which there was no yellow flags for that. I don't understand what happened that caused him to take so many pit stops, and he didn't even pit till lap 27, which was his final lap since he got lapped. Yeah, just a crazy strategy. McLaren guys really dropped the ball for Carlos there. As such, we managed to stay in front of him in the driver's standings, but we do move down to P11 as Sergio Perez overtakes us. Hubert moves up to 17th though. Despite having 0 points, he leads all the drivers who have yet to score a point. And the ABR F1 team have moved down past Racing Point, probably thanks to Perez, even though Lance Stroll retired from the race. We are 6 points down on them, so anything is possible. We can still manage to get them back in the future. We're only a few races in, so I'm not really too worried as of right now on the standings, but you can see we're winning our rivalry against Giovinazzi. The team acclaim is going to go up to level 6 here. Also, Hubert's acclaim is going up to level 6, so that's good for him. And you'll see that we've got both of our bonuses from the sponsor, which was 75 laps during the race weekend and a top 12 finish. So that's a huge bonus coming to us, and plus the normal cash we get for a race weekend. That's going to put us up to $2.3 million, and that should be enough for us to upgrade our facilities once again. As you can see, we have level 1 spec on the aerodynamics and chassis since the quality control upgrade came in. But now, we still have spec 0 on the powertrain, so we are going to spend the $2 million to upgrade it. And I was trying to decide what to do, but ultimately quality control is probably the best to go for, since you spend less resource points if your R&D upgrades aren't failing as much. So as you can see, we have 1,200 resource points to spend. It's just about trying to figure out where the best spot to spend it is. Since we don't have the quality production in the powertrain yet, I decided it's not worth it to try to upgrade that, since it has a 40% chance of failing. So we're just going to go with a upgrade on the rear wings here. The drag reduction upgrade that'll increase our straight line speed, and a weight reduction upgrade here on the chassis that'll also increase our straight line speed, just because we'll get a better run out of the corners and whatnot. But anyway, if you enjoyed that episode, make sure to leave a like, and if you want to see more of this My Team Career Mode, then make sure you subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.